Hello friends, I am dumb. I did actually have a video for Tuesday, and some of you who were very astute may have noticed that I did even upload said video and then immediately took it down because I forgot to click on the record audio part when I made that video. I are a smart person, allegedly. Um, oh, Lavash, I make myself tired, just for the record. Ooh, look, experience to recharge my stupid pickaxe. Lots of experience. I didn't realize how much metal I had smelting here. That's the wrong one. No, okay, that was the right one. I never know. I just work through. Okay, so I don't want to carry these around right now. Okay, the gold I will carry, but the rest of it's gonna go here. That's not true. Iron I'll make blocks out of. But anyways, so the reason that I have been especially spotty the last little while in terms of my uploads and such is because, of course, the convention RadCon, which takes place in Pasco, Washington, is upcoming in the next couple of weeks. And I am planning on attending. And as the last video shows, I have a selection of sketches that I'm going to be submitting to the art show and have been spending a lot of time focused on those sketches. So, oh boy, that's getting full in it. That's all right. I'm going to take those over and put them down. Should we do that map time? I think we should do that map time. And first I'm going to combine these stupid emeralds. Don't be like that. Thank you. There we go. All right. Let's go do that. I'm feeling that. Let's grab us 39 gold blocks. Ooh, okay. That was the wrong button. Also the wrong... Okay, I'm going to keep that out, though, because I'm pretty sure I have at least 2 gold blocks sitting over. You go along the side, dingus. Everything always belongs in the right place, you see. Because the TISM includes no small amount of obsessive-compulsive behavior. And what's funny about that, incidentally, is for the longest time, all of my friends, and it was very good-natured, would tease me about being OCD, or they would say, really, it's CBO, because the letters are in the right order, as they should be. But I like things to be the same on the regs, and I like my patterns. And now that I look back after the whole diagnosis thing, it's so stinking obvious. So obvious. Infuriatingly obvious. But anyways, so yes, things are supposed to be in the right order. That's why the sword always goes right there. And then I have food and torches. And typically that slot's going to be my fortune pickaxe, but if I have a sacrificial pickaxe, it gets the first slot. Let's go play map time with the golden letters. Golden words. Characters? Radicals. I don't know. I keep planning on doing more to learn that. And learn more about, Mandarin just in general. But, I am what happens when you take attention deficit and turn it into a human person. True story. There's another one of those diagnoses that were missed. Yay, gold! This may be the only one I do in gold, because honestly, it has taken so long and so much work. And I am a stubborn little psycho. Don't get me wrong. You want to talk about bullheaded individuals. That's what a PhD is. True story. That's called monofocus and specific interest to the extreme. Yeah. There's reason my other channel is Rock Doc. Because I are the Rock Doc. And a Sly Paladin. Although I don't actually consider myself all that sly, but Microsoft picked the name and I ran with it. Whee! That's a bunch of cacti. In real life, cactus are just fascinating. Of course, when I'm not teaching geology back in the day before the pandemic, I also taught Intro to Environmental Science. And that was honestly one of my favorite classes to teach. I mean, I love teaching intro geology. And what's funny for me is if I'm working as part of a larger group and I have to go by everybody else's pattern and everybody else's rules, I will inevitably trip. And I will inevitably make a jackaloon of myself. And it's not intentional, but I'll mess something up. If I am 100% in charge, my students absolutely freaking love me. Like, I am their favorite person on this entire planet of Earth. Because I try really hard to be incredibly reasonable. I don't, have a rule that I don't explain and I'm willing to listen. Okay, that one doesn't need updated, but this one does. So let's watch this thing be cool. And I make a point of being eminently reasonable and approachable. And I love to teach, and I love to be one-on-one and see students interact and see students succeed in a small setting. So 20, 30 students is the perfect size for me. But when I have to work with other people and follow their rules, it inevitably goes sideways. But, I never taught the Intro to Environmental Science anything but solo. So that was never a problem. I'm going to put this one in my offhand so we can see it while I add these 40 blocks. So I miss that. I miss that a lot. Because it was great. It was fun. And the year the pandemic hit, that semester, I was teaching Intro to Environmental Science. And it was probably my best semester. I was so upset that the pandemic sort of ruined it. But I had a lab fee budget, and so I got to buy supplies, and I got to do really fun things with the students and get them, free tickets to this museum nearby. But my favorite thing was I made these little, green kits. And so it was a foldable metal spoon, it was a spork thing, and a metal straw, and there was a silicone reusable water bottle that folded up really tiny, and a grocery bag. And the entire assignment was, go use this stuff and keep a note of when you use this stuff, And then there was going to be a paper about, talk about how this has changed your habits and other ways that you could do that. But anyways, so here is the updated. Oh, it's getting there. It is getting there. And that's super exciting, right? Just love it. But, use this, and then I wrote all my own labs. And I have a serious problem with textbooks as a rule. They make me very angry, which I suspect that's not uncommon with a lot of people who teach these intro classes. But I kind of took it one step further, and I said, I refuse. I refuse to play this game. And so instead of assigning a $80, $90 textbook, I would find an open source textbook that was passable. Because when I teach lectures, I teach to the test and I test from my lectures. So as long as you're coming to class every day and taking good notes, and my tests were always open note when I got that option. And as a rule, that was handwritten, but if they had, an accommodation for disabilities, I would allow type notes as long as I got to review them. And there were a couple of little, very small rules, but I always tried to be really, really easy to deal with in terms of accessibility for students with disabilities, because I have my own plethora of the things. But as long as you came to class and took good notes, you could easily get an A in my class. It was so simple. As long as you were really trying, you could not fail. Because I know that intro classes are not about the subject matter of the intro class. I've been teaching for long enough, and I've been in university for long enough. An intro class, a 100 level class, is almost exclusively about teaching the students how to college and how to do things like read the instructions, take good notes, follow directions, that sort of stuff, schedule and, deal with their time. So I always taught to that. and with that in the back of my mind. So I would have an open source textbook that was free, that they could get online, that they could send to the print center on campus for like $15 if they wanted a physical copy. I would write my own textbook, my own lab manual, and it would, again, be about $15 for the lab manual. And they could do it digitally, too. They didn't have to buy a physical copy. They could have a digital copy and then just print out what they were going to hand in to me. But I had been working on going to doing it digitally as well so that they could submit through our, whatever the website was, I want to say Chalkboard. So they didn't have to waste paper and they didn't have to waste money on that nonsense. But look, pale oak saplings, they're really cute. But like in terms of the textbooks, so they'd have the open source text, and then I would pick something that was more mass market. So like the trade paperbacks. My favorite one for the environmental science class, I had two. It was Cadillac Desert, which is a fantastic read, and then On Fire, The Case for a New Green Deal that year. And it would be something different this year because that's sort of a subject that's always evolving, but like I always wanted to pick something that they could get at the library, that was available on Audibles, that was available on Kindle, that was very accessible for my students. And so that's what I did that year. And it was such a great class. I had so many fantastic students. They were trying so hard, especially with the pandemic, right? I mean, that was a nightmare. But I miss teaching. I'm rambling. I know. It is what it is. Anyways, this is getting there, as you can see from the offhand map. Let's move that into main hand, shall we? Just to get a better look at it. Everything in the northern quadrant, third of the map is done except for Smiley. Everything except for the mountain and the sand dune in the southern third is done. And then there's just a very small section in the middle. So we are almost done with the platform, which is very exciting. And hopefully next week we'll have, I probably am only going to do one update next week because of the whole RadCon coming up, and I've got to start getting ready for the classes that I'm teaching, which I may or may not have mentioned in a previous video. I'm going to be teaching a couple of classes that are donation only. It's like a $5 suggested donation. Creating your own drop spindle. And I bring all the material and then I show everybody how to make a drop spindle. And then they get to take that home with them. And then the one that follows directly after that will be using the drop spindle. And I bring some merino wool and tussa silk if you have wool allergies because it's hyperallergenic. And it's a pea silk, so it behaves very similar to the merino. It's not the long strand that you get with a mulberry silk, but it's a little more the same without being an allergen. So if you're coming to RadCon and you're interested in that, I have 24 slots. I believe I'm going as Kady Nicols, but ask for the Volcano Lady. You'll find me. Thanks for hanging with me.